Tonight, regional health patients set for simpler access to the PAT scheme, and dancing returns to a number of South Australian licensed venues.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. A new website featuring improved resources is set to provide better support and access for regional residents using the Patient Assistance Transport Scheme. But the opposition says more needs to be done to improve the service.
A one-stop shop for regional patients. This new website aimed at making access easier for people using the Patient Assistance Transport Scheme. Updates to application forms, new resources including an online calculator tool and animated videos, providing better support for those travelling to receive care.
Hopefully they'll be able to find information about PATs a bit more easier and all be able to locate it all in one spot.
The Health Minister saying it reaffirms the state government's commitment to helping those in need.
We want to make sure that this scheme is both as accessible as it can be and also as useful as it can be.
For this regional patient, frequent trips to Adelaide for treatments have been made a little bit easier through PATs. Learning about the scheme through her specialist, she says as time went on, she hasn't been able to use it.
Because I have a relationship with my oncologist in Adelaide, I'm not prepared to change specialists at this point in time.
Shadow Health Minister Chris Picton says while the opposition welcomes the improvements, it doesn't address the inaccessibility of the PAT system for many patients and their families.
Because sometimes there are reasons why people don't use the regional facilities, and it's not because they choose not to, it's maybe because they didn't know that was available at the time.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Dancing at South Australian pubs and clubs will return in certain circumstances later this week. Licensed venues with a capacity of less than 200 people can offer drinking and dancing, provided they have COVID marshals and QR codes. Venues with a capacity between 200 and 1,000 people will require a COVID-safe plan and can have a designated dancing area of up to 50 people. Restrictions will be lifted at 1 past midnight on Friday. The border with Greater Melbourne will also reopen at the same time. Woolworths has been ordered to back pay its workers after the Fair Work Commission found employees should have been receiving the Broken Hill allowance of 97 cents per hour, even when they're on leave.
Woolworths made a decision to treat the allowance like any other allowance that Woolworths applies and not pay off periods of leave.
Woolworths says the decision affects around 100 workers on an enterprise agreement. The company is reviewing the ruling to determine whether additional employee payments are required. South Australia's opposition is calling for the government to roll out their housing solar program at a faster rate. However, the government says it started phase 3, as well as completed a $10 million property maintenance blitz.
A scheme set to create more jobs and help public housing tenants at the same time. The SA Housing Authority says it is providing properties for solar panels to be fitted under the SA Virtual Power Plant program. The project is led by the Energy Department and Tesla, but Labor says the rollout is not moving fast enough, claiming only a small amount of solar panels have been installed.
So 3,000 out of what potentially could be 25,000 is a very, very slow rate of application.
SA Housing Authority says tenants must choose to have a unit installed and are not forced to have one. But the member for Giles, Eddie Hughes, says more needs to be done.
There's approximately 2,300 housing authority houses here in Whyalla. As of late last year, we've only seen 23 houses receive our solar.
So what that means is that the savings that could happen under solar energy for people in public housing are not being realised.
In a statement, SA Housing Authority says more than 1,100 properties have had units installed so far, and not all Housing SA properties are suitable for solar panel installation. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The business behind the proposed Horsens Iron project near Broken Hill says it's confident the project will be economically viable. Increased demand for Australian iron ore, pushing prices to an almost 10-year high.
A new face for a project Broken Hill is hanging its hopes on.
It is the best underdeveloped iron ore asset in the world today.
Carpentaria Resources Executive Chairman visiting the city as the Horsens Iron project enters its next stage.
We have started that process, the capital raise process. We're getting some very positive feedback at the moment.
The company saying it's perfect timing for the project, with iron ore prices at their highest in almost a decade, uncertainty surrounding shipments from Brazil and strong demand from China increasing the product's value.
Demand will continue to go and the supply side isn't going to catch up.
The mine could employ around 500 people when it's operational as soon as 2024. Carpentaria confident the project will withstand the boom and bust nature of mining, even if prices do go down.
The mining industry is very exposed to commodity price and exchange rates, but this is such a good project, we believe it will stand up.
The project joining Cobalt Blue's already announced mine plans. Talks are also underway to utilise ports in Whyalla or Port Pirie to export the iron ore. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, the programme release for this year's Unearthed Festival in Whyalla, and a popular TV show visits the Eyre Peninsula. Welcome back. A bird is being blamed for sparking a power outage in Tumby Bay this morning. More than 1,000 homes and businesses were left without electricity just after 7 a.m. SA Power Network says a bird on a transformer caused the system to trip. The town was offline for more than an hour before it was finally restored just after 8:30. Animals caused more than 6% of power outages across South Australia. Multiple headline acts have been announced for this year's Unearthed Festival in Whyalla, with local entertainment to heavily feature. Staff launching the programme this morning, with tickets already flying out the doors.
It's the Year of the Cat. This mascot, meant for last year's festival, will get a second life representing the 2021 Unearthed festivities.
Today we are launching the program for the Unearthed Festival for 2021. So this year we've gone for a completely different format. The constraints of COVID have meant that we've tried to spread it out around the city, so we've got lots of small events.
These previous mascots, the unicorn and balloon dog, also making an appearance today with multiple headline acts announced.
Favourite of ours, Sam McMahon, who is our MC for I think the first couple of years, and he is producing a Lucky Sam's family fringe favourites.
There is also a range of local performances scheduled across the city, giving aspiring entertainers a chance to showcase their talents.
The young musicians will be out in force again. They'll be performing down at Norton Park. So there's some really great opportunities for local artists.
The festival's opening night will be held at the Ada Ryan Gardens, with application entries for stall holders closing this week.
So far we've got 36 stall applications, lots of food, different food vendors, which is really exciting.
Tickets will be available online or at the Middleback Arts Centre. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Amazing Race has touched down on the Eyre Peninsula, with contestants competing across Port Lincoln. There were familiar faces during the episode, with a handful of locals taking part in some of the challenges.
The eyes of the nation tuned in to Port Lincoln last night.
We are in Port Lincoln,
with the city hosting the 12th leg of the Amazing Race. 8 teams running amok across the city, competing for $250,000.
They were marvellous and really entertaining.
Renowned sculptor Ken Martin making a guest appearance, judging the iconic tuna toss. The show's host Beau Ryan even trying his hand at lobbing the 10-kilo tuna, although needing a bit more practice.
He was quite theatrical with his efforts, but it was all good fun.
From tuna tossing to playing bocce, teams even made a splash with some southern locals.
That's amazing.
The Pups of the Sea putting on a show for contestants, although not everyone was up for their fun and games.
These sea lions, they look like they were looking for blood.
I don't think he was in any danger at all with the sea lion biting him there. They looked like they were more up for a kiss than anything else.
The region's towering sandhills a perfect backdrop as teams fought through gruelling challenges. Lucina Lucan representing the city at the finish line.
Welcome to Port Lincoln. Thank you, thank you.
To do say that welcome to Port Lincoln so many times to the contestant, that is a great feeling.
More than 450,000 viewers tuning in to see our region.
It was really exciting to see.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Students are gearing up for a big year of study as the academic year finally begins. Port Pirie's Uni Hub is hosting a range of orientation activities this week, with regional student numbers higher than ever.
Doors are open and Port Pirie's Uni Hub staff are excited to be welcoming back eager students.
It's so accessible and it gives you a building to be in and that's not in the city, and yeah, it's really close to home.
To work and still volunteer while study.
They'll be hitting the ground running with orientation sessions scattered across the campus during the week.
3 sessions, one at 10 o'clock, one at 2 o'clock and one at 6 p.m. for all students who are starting in 2021 to get used to how the Uni Hub operates and how their university platforms work.
Despite Uni Hub being a young institution, it's growing fast with student numbers higher than ever. Staff are hoping it will provide a pipeline of younger employees for the region.
We've definitely had new enrolments across all 3 sites in Kadina, Port Pirie and Port Augusta. We've now got nearly 20 plus nursing students across the region, which is looking really good for the health sector.
Kadina's campus will be opening shortly, with York Peninsula students already eager to use it.
And because I'm from Kadina, I can start at the Kadina Uni Hub as well.
Copper Coast sessions at the Kadina campus will be next Tuesday, the 2nd of March. So it's a busy couple of weeks for everyone working in and around the Uni Hub, whether it be students or staff. It's an exciting time of year for us.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Broken Hill netballers take to the courts for the first time this season. And our newest SES Commander officially takes the reins in Port Pirie. New federal government figures have laid bare the sobering reality of the international border shutdown. International visitors arriving in South Australia plummeted by more than 99% last year compared to 2019. Regionally, operators saw a spike as more residents holidayed at home.
One operator told me is that while their occupancy rate for summer was the same as normal, like 90 to 100%, the number of people staying in hotel rooms was greater.
New Zealand, the UK and the United States had the highest number of residents returning to Australia. Broken Hill's netballers have hit the courts for the first time this year, undeterred by COVID restrictions. Organisers thrilled by the number of teams and new competitors this season, with games to be played on the current courts for the final time.
The familiar sights and sounds of winter sport. Broken Hill's netball community showing strength in numbers.
We've got around 42 teams running around at the moment, so that's pretty big for us.
While COVID didn't have a major impact on last year's competition, they're still following strict protocols, including limits on spectator numbers and QR code scanning.
Cleaning was obviously a big thing, sanitising, making sure all of that was done, alternating times, balls, equipment.
The aptly named New Kids winning their game against Morgies, despite being new to the competition and only recently meeting their teammates.
Very interesting. We've had to learn everyone's names and positions and all that sort of stuff and play together as a team for the first time.
This season is the last to be played on the current courts, with funding announced for a complete makeover to begin mid-year.
I think there'll be a lot less bloody knees and a lot more happy ankles and knees as well.
Locals embracing community sport, with the local footy league to return next month after last year's season was cancelled altogether.
It's so important for especially like the younger kids who are trying to make friends. There's that social aspect as well.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Early bird registrations are now open for this year's Pitchy Richie Marathon. The event has been running for almost 4 decades and is widely known as a community tradition. Registrations can be made online at their website. The 42-kilometre journey starts in Port Augusta, allowing participants to run, jog or walk to the finish line in Quorn. Other events include the half marathon, 10.5 kilometre, 5 kilometre and kids 1 kilometre fun run. State emergency service crews are welcoming a new commander for the North region. Covering the largest zone in South Australia, the new boss is ready for a challenge, with this region notorious for wild weather.
A warm welcome to this new SES Commander for the North region. He'll be in charge of 91% of the state, but Brenton Clark is ready for the task.
Oh, I'm very excited. You know, it's a great opportunity that the service has given me. Some big responsibilities.
He has some big shoes to fill, with the previous commander hanging up his boots after nearly 4 decades of service.
I've been here for about 15 years now, and total time in the service of 37 years.
Reminiscing on his time in service, he worked during the infamous 2016 floods and statewide blackout.
Pretty much ran the region off a small generator and a couple of handheld radios. We had all of the other agencies based out here, so working with the rest of the team in the area was fantastic.
The new commander is bringing some extensive experience to the table.
For the last 7 years, employed in the training department of the SES, teaching volunteers in training in technical rescue and looking after safety as well.
He's encouraging residents to consider volunteering for the SES.
And I love the work. You know, it's a great way of helping the community, but also for me, it was a way of challenging myself and making sure what I was teaching was actually working.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll check the region's fuel prices and we'll have the weather details with Alex. Hello again. Fuel prices have risen across our region again this week, and some towns are feeling the petrol pain more than others. Here's Lachlan Itter with a look at prices in your local area.
There's quite a lot of variation in fuel prices across our region this week, but once again, Broken Hill comes off worst. Unleaded here in the Silver City, nudging the $1.40 mark. That's almost 10 cents a litre more than Whyalla, where prices are unchanged from last week at $1.32. Port Lincoln takes the crown as our third most expensive spot, with a slight increase there, bringing prices to $1.31. Now we get to the good news, those towns under $1.30, where Port Augusta just manages to sneak in. If you're in Kadina, expect to pay $1.28 a litre. Port Pirie remains our cheapest centre, even with a 3-cent increase on last week. And if you're heading to Adelaide, a huge drop there, so fill up for $1.19 if you can. Over to diesel, where drivers will be feeling the pain wherever they fill up. Broken Hill has smashed $1.40, up by almost 5 cents a litre. At the other end of the spectrum, Port Lincoln comparable to city prices. $1.27 in Port Pirie, $1.30 in Port Augusta, slightly more in Kadina. Avoid filling up in Whyalla if you can. You'll pay $1.33 there, the highest price across the Spencer Gulf. And finally to Autogas, Port Augusta, the only town to record an increase, albeit a quarter of a cent. Port Pirie and Broken Hill just over 90 cents a litre, slightly more in Kadina and around the $1 mark in Port Lincoln and Whyalla. Adelaide's prices are slightly down, but nothing to really write home about. Now remember, these prices are the regional averages and do not reflect any one particular outlet. But if you do spot unleaded, diesel or auto gas cheaper, be sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
And with a look at what weather conditions you can expect across our region tomorrow, here's Alex Sykes with the latest details.
Thanks, John. A sunny day across our region with mild temperatures. From 3 p.m, Broken Hill was 24 degrees. Port Pirie 26 and Cleve 22. Taking a look further across the Gulf now, Port Augusta was sunny and 26 degrees, while it got to a high of 23. It was partly cloudy in Port Lincoln 22. Kadina and Clare both were sunny and also 22. Woodness sunny and 25 degrees. Cooper Pedy with the region's top of 28. Adelaide got to a top of 21. To today's satellite image now, patchy cloud in the far south in onshore winds around a broad high pressure ridge is not rain bearing. The ridge is keeping elsewhere clear. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas at 1 to 2 metres, and south to southwesterly swell around 1 metre. Mainly fine conditions tomorrow. Port Lincoln and Cleve are both set to reach a top of 22. Woodness sunny and 27. Whyalla windy and becoming sunny, a top of 24. Similar conditions in Port Augusta 26. Kadina sunny and 25 degrees there. Port Pirie sunny and set to top 26. Clare 23, and Broken Hill will have a max of 27. Taking a look further through the week now, mainly fine conditions across the region again tomorrow. Cooper Pedy sunny and 32. Similar conditions in Broken Hill, Port Pirie and Woodness all set to reach 28. Port Augusta 29. Partly cloudy across the rest of the region. Sunny across most of the Gulf on Saturday, temperatures heating up slightly. Cooper Pedy 34, Port Augusta and Broken Hill sunny and 32, 28 in Kadina and Whyalla. Those sunny conditions set to continue on Sunday, 37 in Cooper Pedy, 33 in both Port Augusta and Woodness, 34 in Broken Hill, Whyalla and Kadina both 29, and Adelaide will top 27. So John, some fine conditions to look forward to this week, with the weekend looking even better. That's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.